Well, hey there, everybody. Bill O'Leary coming to you on this video. And the question I'm going to answer here is, who can be the executor of a special needs trust? So what you're going to learn in this video is, number one, what is a special needs trust? Two, why selecting the person as the trustee of a special needs trust is so important. And number three, the things to think about when naming the trustee of a special needs trust. Real quick, let me introduce myself. My name is Bill O'Leary. I'm an attorney in Jacksonville, Florida. My firm is Legacy Planning Law Group, and I focus on basically three areas of the law, all very much sort of interconnected. Number one, elder law, special needs law. Number two, estate planning, wills, trusts, and estates. And then number three, probate and estate and trust administration. So that's what we do. So let me jump in. So first, what is a special needs trust? It's basically a trust that holds money for someone who is disabled or who has special needs. So let's say a family member is disabled in some way, and they've probably qualified for some sort of special assistance from the government benefits, things like Medicaid and a supplemental security income, also known as SSI, and maybe Section 8 housing. They're there to help special needs individuals. So the question is, what would happen to those benefits if your special needs loved one, let's say they come into an inheritance? Well, those benefits would be jeopardized and more than likely would be eliminated. So this is where a special needs trust comes in. So you see, the inheritance can go into the trust as a way to preserve the government benefits. It's a special kind of trust that has certain bells and whistles, and it makes the government programs happy so that the money that goes into the trust will not jeopardize those benefits. So it's a great way to leave behind money for your special needs loved one that's going to improve their quality of life, and you're not going to have to worry that they're going to suddenly get kicked off the public rolls. So now a special needs trust, it is a trust, and as with any trust, it's managed and controlled by what's called a trustee. We're the executor. You've probably heard that term. They're in charge of an estate. A trustee, in similar fashion, is in charge of a trust. Your special needs loved one cannot be the trustee of their own trust, because that would threaten their continued eligibility for those benefits. So it has to be somebody else, a third party. Who can that be? That's the topic of this video. Choosing the right person as the trustee of a special needs trust, it is one of the most important decisions that you're going to have to make when setting up a special needs trust. The trustee has a lot of responsibility. This includes maybe managing the daily operation of the trust, making decisions about those to the trust beneficiary, investing the trust assets, paying the trust bills, all the while they're maintaining the beneficiary's eligibility for public benefits, not doing anything to jeopardize those. Now, the law does not impose any requirements necessarily to be a trustee. Really, there's one big requirement. The person has to be 18 years of age or older. But a special needs trustee, it's not your ordinary trust. So the trustee has to know the ins and outs of the public benefit programs, so that they'll know not to do something, sort of, a small mistake that's going to threaten those benefits. So here are some of the things that you might want to consider when deciding who would be best to serve as trustee of a special needs trust. Number one, are they willing to serve? Any person that you name as trustee has to be willing to serve. Check with them before naming them. Tell them what their duties will be. And this, I can tell you, will avoid a later surprise when it comes time for them to step up and then they decide, well, they're not going to do it. They decline. They're not forced to take the job. Find out if they have the time to serve. Being a trustee of a special needs trust can be time consuming. They're going to have to pay medical bills, other bills, maybe locate housing, monitor those government benefits. They're going to have to deal with service providers. Find out if they have the time to do it. How about this? Pick somebody who is familiar with your loved one, the special needs beneficiary. For a special needs trust to work well, the person serving as trustee really should have a good working knowledge of the beneficiary's needs. A close personal relationship will help. And it will also help if the person that you select is able to show some empathy for somebody who's disabled. How about identifying somebody who is fairly close in age to the beneficiary? So when you're choosing a trustee, you should try to find someone who's going to be around, living as long, roughly, as the beneficiary will need the trust, which is the rest of that beneficiary's life. So choosing someone close in age to how old the beneficiary is really will ensure sort of long-term stability of the trust. And if the person you appoint is older, give them the power to name a successor trustee after them if you haven't already done that ahead of time. How about somebody who is familiar with public benefit programs? Find someone who knows about public benefit programs because they have complicated rules. The trustee of a special needs trust has to know these rules, or at least be willing to know what they don't know, and then they get help from a special needs expert. Pick somebody who has some financial knowledge and competence. So while the trustee can find it certainly fulfilling to distribute money out of the trust for the disabled beneficiary, they also have to deal with sort of the less exciting business part of the trust and managing the trust, like preparing reports, keeping records, filing tax returns, and making investment decisions. So find someone who's fairly financially literate. And if you can't, consider naming a co-trustee or a trust advisor to serve with the person that you have in mind so that they can get some help with the finances. And then the last thing I would suggest, consider a professional trustee. If you don't want to put the special needs trust money, you see, into the hands of a family member or friend, or you don't think they have the capability to serve as a trustee of this special kind of trust, think about bringing on an expert as a trustee, a professional or corporate trustee. A professional trustee is usually a person who administers the trust for a fee, and they have specialized knowledge in the area of public benefits and know how to manage special needs trust. Corporate trustees are similar. They tend to be sort of financial institutions like banks that will administer the trust also for a fee. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about who can be the executor of a special needs trust and maybe how we can help, we would love to talk to you. So we encourage you, we invite you, in fact, to reach out and schedule a 15-minute phone call. We call it around here our discovery phone call. It's an easy first step. You can sort of tell us what's on your mind, what you'd like to talk about, and that way we can tell you if we can help you. And the scheduling could not be any easier. So go to the bottom of this video and click on the scheduling link, or go to our website. There's a scheduling link there. Click on the button that says book your free call. It takes you to our booking calendar, and just pick the day and time that's right for you. So this is Bill O'Leary signing off for now, and on behalf of everybody here at Team Legacy, go make it a great day and a better world.